Okay, let's draw. Today I'm going to get back on this engine. I actually need to try to make this cylinder shape, give or take, basically. This guy used a mirror modifier, which is probably a good idea. But I'm going to try to come close to this, I think. I'm not sure, but I think down in here where he's got some funny shapes. I noticed one thing he's doing is he's got a lot of triangular surfaces. Like I said, I was told, or I've seen videos that were saying that making polygons or triangles in Blender is like a bad thing. It's kind of like a no-no. You're really not supposed to do it. Let's see, there we go. And I'm going to try to do this a little bit different than what he's doing. He has a 6-sided cylinder, well, actually a 12-sided cylinder. And then he has it a little bit above the cylinder core, the crankcase, and then he tied them all up with these faces, which I think I can do that. And then I have to try to figure out the part on this. And this he has kind of like an octagon cube. And when he's done, this is the shape that we're wanting. And if you can see the cylinders, they're kind of small on the screen, but he's got a push rod, and then I think this has to have a push rod from the front. So anyway, I'm going to start working on the cylinders in this project. So I think to do that, we need to add a cylinder, and we need to bring it down to 12 sides. Okay, get rid of that, and I can grab the Z and bring it up here above that. And then I want to go, let's go back to full screen. I want to go into Object, and I want to go to Snap. And I want to go Cursor to Active, which brings that 3D cursor in the center of that cylinder. And that way when I scale it, it'll scale it from there. So we're going to scale this down. Somewhat like that. Grab it to the Z, bring it down closer. And this is going to be a guess. Let's go back there. Okay. So you can tell that that cylinder is a little bit above that square, and it's a little bit smaller. So I'm kind of making a guess at it. Like I said, one of the good things is I can actually, let's grab it, the Z, bring it down a little more, about like that maybe. And let's look at it from 7. And 1. Let's snap that cursor back to the center of that. And like I said, I'm just guessing. I'm guessing from looking at that from an angle. I think I think I'm pretty close. It might need just a tad more. I think I'm pretty close, so maybe just scale it just a hair bigger. About that. We'll try that. Okay. Let's go back into actually, okay, so we got that. And hooking that at the bottom actually is not going to be a problem. That'll be easy enough. Like I said, I don't like the triangles, so I might try a few tricks to because there's ways you can make triangles and put an extra vertex in them and loop cut them and stuff like that, so that it ends up not being triangles. Let's look at this again. And like I said, I can always look at this to kind of, except for that, it's got it so hid. I can look here. See, and his shading's kind of funky on that too, but I think I understand why. It's because I don't know if he's got his normal set or just the way it shades on those cylinders, but this almost seems rounded except for at the sides. And then he was explaining like this. I think he's just dinking around because he's actually stretched these two sides out and stuff like that. And see, like I said, it seems to me he's got extra face. He's got all kinds of faces in here I don't think you need, unless he's just putting them in there to smooth it down, but sure makes a lot of extra dots. And Z Piagri, is it? I think. Z Peregrine is who I'm working on this engine for. I wish we could get a hold of this guy here, and I don't know if he would send you a copy of this model, but it would sure be nice. I think I can come close to replicating this model, but it's not going to be exact. Should be somewhat close though. I think I can make it look quite a bit like it. And I don't get this. I have actually, I was an actual engine mechanic and jet engine mechanic in the Navy on aircraft, and I've dinked around with a few radial engines, and I'm not really sure I get this push rod set up unless they have, all I can figure is that they have 2 push rods inside this little guide that has the push rods here that's going up to these rockers. Because of course you have intake rockers and you have exhaust rockers. And with the way it looks like it has the exhaust manifolds on this, I'm actually thinking that these front two rocker arms are your intake rockers, and those ones behind them are exhaust rockers. I don't think it's a left or a right thing, because it looks like it has a little double exhaust pipe coming off of both sides on the back here, right here. Which doesn't, because it looks like it shoots all the exhaust down inside of the crankcase, and I don't know where, unless they just made a round manifold from there to exit out the bottom of the airplane or something. Anyways, and I can look here. You're talking about the oiling hoses and stuff like that. That's the hub. And and these little tubes here that are going into each cylinder are what hook up to the carburation system somewhere. Those are actually your intake valves. So those front 2 rocker arms would be your intake valves, and the ones behind them would be your exhaust valves. And the only way that they could cam those with that, got to get down here a ways, or actually go to the top. The only way they could operate those through this little mechanism as if they had 2 push rods. They have to have a double cam set up down here and 2 push rods going to each cylinder that's just front, where most of these engines are offset a little bit. This is kind of an interesting engine. It's a pretty simple engine, but it's interesting to say the least. Okay, so this is what I'm working on now, though. I was trying to get this. So I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is also an 8-sided cylinder, or a extraction. I wish I could get a bottom shot. Okay, that's kind of a bottom shot. So he does kind of upsweep that, it looks like. It looks like it don't look like they go straight out. It looks like it has a little bit of an upshot. So if we come back to Blender and we come down like this and go to edit mode and go to vertices, and we can hit A and we can hit Z. Okay. So like I said, actually when I connect this, what I want to do is I want to actually draw the cylinder. I'm going to make this whole cylinder first. And I'm probably going to do the push rods on it. I'm going to try to do the whole schmear, this whole thing. I'm going to just make this whole cylinder and connect it all. And then I'll duplicate it and I'll put these angles on it and rotate it around. He used a different technique, which is pretty interesting, but I don't really think I'm too much up to trying it yet. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go extrude scale. Let's go to there. And let's look at, let's glance at our picture right quick. That looks about right, give or take. Like I said, and I can hopefully stretch this. Actually, that isn't much wider than the. Yeah, actually, it is a little bit wider. It has to be, otherwise it wouldn't fit. So I think let's go to 1. We probably need to scale it back in a little bit here. Okay. And I hope I'm not too tall on this. Give or take. That's your core. That's about half. That's a little under half. So that's, yeah. I think that's about right. We might have to bring that whole thing up a little bit. Give it a little more cylinder. Okay, so I scaled that. Now let's go extrude on the Z, and let's come up. Z. Let's come up about there. And let's take this whole thing, let's grab it to the Z, let's shorten it down a little bit. Actually, that's pretty short. I think I've made that too tall. I'm trying to make this whole thing. I can't do that. Okay, so that's just real short. So let's go back to here. Let's go A. Let's go box. Grab it Z. Let's bring it down a little bit. Like that. Okay. If you notice this one here, that seems like that's stretched out to the side, and those are brought in. Okay, so we'll go here, we'll go 7. The other thing I want to know is that's almost the same thing, except for I don't know what he did here with this. I really would like to see the cylinders. Oh, I think he put some kind of little the carburetor tube thing or something on the front here. Okay, so anyway, what I'm getting at, he doesn't really have an octagon here. We got to off-shape that. I think I can do that. And then this almost looks more like a square than he has. Okay, so let's go back in here. Let's go to 1. Which is kind of funny. I'm actually, the way he's got this on this picture, he's actually got it facing backwards. So I'm actually not even back. He's got it sideways too. He's got it on the y-axis too, so. Because 1 is showing the front of the engine when 1 should be showing the side of the engine, but it's alright. So what I'm going to do here is I need to take this. Need to go to lines. And I need to grab this one here. I'll go back to 1. And I need to grab this to the Z, and we need to bring it up a little bit. Like that. So I might have to bring that whole mess down. Yeah. I think I'm going to have to shorten that some more. I still think I have that top of that cylinder too much. So if I go here, and then I go back to vertice, then I box this. Actually, I got to box the top too. Grab it to the Z, shorten it down a little bit, about like that maybe. That looks better. Okay, let's. Okay, and then, of course, once we get this somewhat shaped how we want it shaped, then we will smooth the faces and stuff. Okay. So what I want to do now, actually, I want to go to 7. Actually, I want to go to 1. Okay, what I want to do now is I want to. I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about the top of this. The top, and so I need to grab these 3. So we'll go in here and I need to box this. Actually, I think what he did, yeah, I think that one is left. I think he drug these 2 out, is I think what he did to start with. And then he brought these in. From what I can tell, that's what it looks like he did. I think he left those 2 alone, he drug these 2 out. That is all I think he did. So if I go back here, so he grabbed these 2, and actually he mirror modified it, which I'm not doing. I'm doing something a little bit different. We're going to scale it to the Y. No, we're not going to scale it to the Y because it's sideways. We're going to scale it to the X. To about there. And we're going to look at that. Yeah, that's think that's all he did was he squared that out a little bit on that head top. Scale it wide. Let's bring it in a little bit. Let's go to object mode. So Freeze almost got that flat, so... Honestly, I think that's all he did. Might have brought that center in a little bit, but I don't think so. Back to edit mode. And we almost got that flat. Let's look at from above. That would kind of make sense, because I don't think... I said I don't think this would go much wider than this square here. Maybe a little bit. If I have to, I could scale that whole thing. That looks pretty tall. I think I'm pretty close. And then looks like he puts a little wafer in here. If I look at this, so what I want to do now, I think I'm going to smooth this cylinder out and see if it has kind of like that appearance. Of course, this is kind of, once I make this little rocker arm setup thing for it, if I can get that shape pretty close down, then I think it'll give us a little bit more aspect. So if I'm in Edit, go to Faces. Let's get out our toolbar. Let's smooth those. And what's actually amazing to me, he doesn't sharpen those lines either. Which, actually that does look like it does have a sharp line in there. The bottom line he left sharp. So let's go to lines. And let's hit A. And let's hit that line there. I want that to be sharp. And let's hit this line. Let's make that one sharp. This line. Actually, let's hit A first. Okay. Let's take this line and make it sharp. Let's go back to Faces. And yeah, sometimes some of the stuff I do is harder than if I would use the mirror modifiers and learn how to use those pretty good and stuff like that. What I've always had trouble with is once I set them, it seems like I've had trouble in setting them and smooth those. Let's go Control. Now let's hit A. See if I can control this face. Nope. But anyway, what I was getting at is some of the things I do kind of do it the hard way. But it's easy for me. Might be a little more time consuming, but I know what it's going to do. Okay, now let's hit A. Let's go to object mode and see what that looks like. Okay, I think we got ourselves a cylinder, or a basic cylinder. It's got all the funky shading. Let's try this. Let's go auto smooth, and let's go double side. Okay. And something I haven't done for a little while that I need to do is, we're in object mode. Let's save this, save as, and oh goodness, yeah, I'm just gonna save it on the this one. Even though we did a major modification, it's more or less. I'll save probably once I get this whole cylinder head done. I'll probably save it on A, and then once I start adding all these little objects and stuff like that, then I'll probably go B, C, and whatever, or up the numbers. But for now, pretty much got the bottom of this done. Like I said, the only thing I haven't done is I haven't connected it to that face. Which actually I could connect it. I could connect it to the crankcase, because I can actually duplicate off the bottom 4 vertices and stuff. So I don't think that would be a big problem actually. So let's select the crankcase. I call it the crankcase, but it's it's more or less the engine block with the crankcase. So let's select that. Shift select the cylinder. And let's go Control J. Join it. Okay. See, now even if I select this cylinder, it's going to select the whole thing. So the significance of that, I'll go to edit mode. I can edit the whole thing now. Okay, so this is what I want to do. Right quick, we're on 27 minutes. Like I said, I don't mind running to about 40, but I don't want, or even, I've ran up close to an hour on some of these videos, which isn't too bad. But I don't really like them. If I can keep them around 30 minutes to 40 minutes, I'm pretty happy about it. If it gets up to an hour, it's kind of like I can live with an hour, but I don't like them to hit an hour or get over an hour long. Okay, so let's see what he does. He connects this face and this and this. Oh. Except for, now see, he's got to do this in half too. He had to put a vertice right here. And which is funny too, because that just makes a triangle there. See how he has a triangle here, but here he's got it cut in half, which is kind of because of the mirror modifier. But since I'm not using a mirror modifier, I can actually skip around that. So that means let's go to line mode. Okay, so let's see. I can't use the line mode because he actually grabbed. Alrighty, I'm sorry, I goofed up. We can throw that off to the side. Left click, so he selected this vertice and this vertice and this vertice, and let's try this. Let's go face. Yep. So you got a face there. Now this is one thing where it's going to get funky. We're going to have to go to face mode. We're going to have to face mode. We're going to have to go back to line. Okay, face mode. Select that face, and we're going to have to delete that face. Otherwise, we're going to have bleed over the face. Okay. If you notice, we kept our little face here, which is, we'll go back to vertices. If you notice, he's got that one big triangle face right there. Okay. So I can polygon this, or like I said, I really kind of hate to polygon it. Okay. Back to vertice mode. I'll select this one. What I'm saying, I shift and select this one, this one. Do the same thing, I go face. Okay. And same here, we can select these. We're going to do this on all four sides. Face. Okay. And the other thing about this too, if I'm not positive, but I think if you was to take this blend file and throw it into Maya or Autodesk or I don't know, almost any other 3D program, doesn't have a problem with triangles. They don't give two craps less about them. In fact, they somewhat seem to thrive on them. So let's go to line mode. Okay, let's take a gander at this. He's got a little triangle, a big triangle, and another little triangle around all four sides. Easy enough. So if I actually select this line and shift in this line, and then go face, A, and same thing here. If I go this line, shift this line, go face, A, and then I can do that here too, this line. I could actually just grab the 2, but I kind of like grabbing the 3. I don't know why, it just seems like it's like there's less chance of any kind of errors. So if you look at his picture, that's the way that little triangle mess down there is set up. And then I just need to basically follow suit. Make sure I don't grab any lines in the, like if I grabbed here, I could grab this edge. And if I grab that edge and this edge and then I hit face, it's going to make a big, goofy, ganky looking thing. So you make sure you click on an area of the line that's not overlapping another line. Especially with ones inside, because what happens is you have this face or this line running down the middle of this, and you can't see it because it's inside. I've done this when I've made ships before. I've had them where I've clicked on the wrong area and hit something else. All of a sudden I'm cutting something open in a sense, or I'm looking inside of the hole because I'm making like putting in prop shafts or something, and then it's like, what the heck, I got some really weird big things stretched out and stuff. Okay, this one, face. Hey, I'm on 34, so I'll finish these up and then I'll call this video good, and then in the next video we'll continue on to the trying to figure out the top of this thing. Face. This is definitely an education. Because, like I said, I'm probably just going to take this basic model when I'm done with it, and I'm going to... actually, I'm going to have it saved in different parts, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify it a little bit or change it around. I'm going to keep the basic part of it as a basic 9-cylinder engine. And I think I'm going to set up the push rods a little bit different to look more like what I call a standard engine, not a custom engine. Really wouldn't matter, but I kind of want the double push rod where you can see them set up. I'm used to seeing that, like on a Wasp engine or a Wasp Junior, like they got on crop dusters and stuff like that. Okay, so now let's go to Object. Actually, before we do anything else, let's save it. We're still going to save this one under A. Okay. I'm going to go to Face Mode. Actually, I want to go to Object Mode, see what it looks like. Yeah, that's what I thought. You see all those little lines. So again, what we'll do is we'll go into Edit Mode. And we'll go to Faces, and we'll start selecting all these faces. Come around here, catch these ones. And let's go to the T. Let's go smooth the faces. And let's look at object mode right quick. Okay, it's smoothed them, but yet you still see the lines, but the lines doesn't seem as I wonder if we can let's go back into edit. Let's smooth the edges. Let's hit A and let's click, whoopsie, hit A again. Let's go into lines. Let's go click, 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 click. I don't want to smooth these outside ones, but I want to smooth these lines here. See if we can get rid of that. I want it to have more of a molded look. Let's see what that does. Edges smooth. Okay, let's try that. I think because of the way the faces are in the shadows, there's not too much you can do with that. Let's go T. Actually, I think they were already smooth. I'm telling it to smooth them, but they're already smooth in a sense. Let's go to edit. See our lines. Let's hit A. And let's take a peek at this one again. From what I can tell, that's about what it looks like, give or take. Like I said, I'm not working with any actual pictures. I should probably actually. He tells me what this is: 9-cylinder Bristol Mercury 8. And he said the first guy that drew this, he said he actually had pictures from a museum and stuff, and that he tells me the diameter is about 1.3 meters on the diameter and stuff. So maybe I could get a reference picture. It would probably help things along, because I'm just dead reckoning this whole thing. Let's go back to object mode. Okay, so we still have, like I said, more or less the top of the head for the cylinder. And then we can start working on the rocker arms. But I want to keep working on this whole cylinder. and then I can just duplicate this. I can delete these faces, duplicate this. I think he said 40 degrees. You got 40 degrees times 40 times 9 ends up being 360. So we can rotate this 40, place it, duplicate that one, replace, and then so on and so forth. I want to snap that to active, which should put it right back there, because I don't want to change my center, even though that dot in a sense is it was the center of that cylinder, but it's kind of like telling it's the middle of this whole thing in a sense right now, which it's not, but we're going to leave it there while we're working in this area. And then like I said, I want to totally do the cylinder and get it detailed and all of that stuff, and I actually want to put the I think I want to make these little scoops. The only thing I need to do different is this these little triangle support mounts. Well, I'll add those on later, but the actual little push rod to the cylinder, and these funnel cups and these connector tubes and all that kind of stuff, I actually want to draw all of these things. Now this is textured, so this is why this looks so much different. And this is not textured, of course, that kind of stuff. But I basically want to draw one whole cylinder, and one of these are actually cooling funnels of some kind that they attach that actually help cool the heads, I think. So I think they actually shove air down around the engine to help cool the fins. And then I want to put on the carburetor tubes, and I'm not sure what these two tubes here are. I think I'm going to leave them off for now, because that wouldn't be real hard to add on. But he's got the little bolt detail. He's got that hose. I'll do that last. But you can see these triangle supports. I got to figure out where those go, which actually I think they just goes on the number 1 cylinder, and then 1, 2, 3 on the 3rd cylinder, and then 1, 2, 3 on that cylinder, and then you got the 2 down here that are. So these are a little bit offset. These aren't exactly 1, 2, 3. I guess they would be. They would be every 3rd cylinder. So I might actually put that in with the cylinder and duplicate it, but then delete it off of these two. Like I could have those run all the way around, and then I could just delete the one on the cylinders where I don't need them. Not sure, but anyway, that's it. That's where we're headed for. So let me zoom that in here and offset. I like to offset stuff a little bit, so when I come in here, I don't like to have it usually just flat. I'm going to save it one more time, which I already did, but I'm going to save it again. I'm going to save it in that position, and then we're going to call this a video. We're almost on 45 minutes, so like I said, I don't like to go much over 40. So thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.